everyone, I'm Sara and welcome to my crochet channel, or welcome back. Today's video is our 5th crochet pattern in our Pamper Us series. It's very important to have self-care and take care of yourself, and that's what this series is all about. Today's pattern is the Pamper Us Spa Towel. It measures a little over 12 inches across and a little bit more than 15 inches long. It's a nice size. It's perfect for using as a bigger washcloth or a towel. I like to have a towel with me to wipe off the sweat when I go to the gym. I also like to have a smaller towel for after I take a shower. That way I can throw it in a Ziploc bag and put it in my gym bag. And when I get home, toss it right into the wash. Okay, and so we use the same yarns that we've been using for our Pamper Us set. But of course, you can use any cotton yarns that you want to for this project. The towel is just so pretty. It can be used in the bathroom, in the kitchen, not just for going to the gym, of course. And so it's just really a nice size, and it turns out really pretty. And we added this fun little trim that gives it just a little bit of a lacy look on the end. But you don't have to add that if you don't want to. It's not necessary. It doesn't have to be there. I just wanted to. And it's a super easy pattern. We begin with some double crochets. We go into some V-stitches. And then the body of the towel is stitched in half double crochets. I really like to stitch towels if I'm going to make a towel in a half double crochet stitch, because it's a nice condensed stitch and it washes up really nice and is very absorbent. Okay, so this is our Pamper Us Spa Towel pattern number 5 in our Pamper Us series. Now, if you would like to have all the links for all the patterns, you'll find those down in the notes underneath this video, as well as the link for the complete pattern with pictures for this pattern, also down in the notes underneath this video. So to make our Pamper Us Spa Towel, we're using the same yarns that we've been using for our series. We have the blue, that is the Yarn Bee Cotton et Lin, which is a combination of cotton and linen. And then we're using this Potpourri Ombre from Sugar and Cream. Now remember, you can use any cotton yarns that you have on hand that are a medium weight number 4 cotton. You're going to need about 2.5 ounces for your main color and about 1.5 ounces for your second color. But of course, you can do these all in one color, or you can add as many colors as you want to. All right, so 2.5 ounces of your main and 1.5 ounces of your extra or color 2. We're going to be stitching today with our H hook, which is a 5.0 millimeter crochet hook. You'll need a needle for weaving in ends, and then you'll need a pair of scissors. We're going to be starting with our blue or color 2 to begin our towel. We'll start at the bottom and then work our way up, and then of course the trim. So we're going to begin with a slip knot, and we're going to chain 35 chains. And I do recommend that you chain this initial chain just a little bit loose. You don't want the bottom of your towel to pucker in. You want it to lay nice and flat. So we're going to chain 35 chains just a little bit loose. I have chained my 35 chains just a little bit loose, and we're going to begin by placing a double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't count that loop on our hook. So yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, and go through the second 2 loops. This chain 3 counts as 1, and then we stitched a double crochet. So yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, go through the first 2, yarn over, and go through the second 2. And so we're going to stitch a double crochet in each of our chains, working all the way across our row. One double crochet in each chain, working all the way across our row. I stitched one double crochet starting in the fourth chain from the hook, and then in each of my chains across. We count this chain 3 as our first double crochet, and then we have a total of 33 double crochets. And this is where you need to look at it. If it's pulling in, you've probably stitched your beginning chain too tightly. All right, because we want it to lay nice and flat. We're going to chain 3 and turn. Our chain 3 here counts as our first double crochet. So we'll double crochet in the next double crochet, and then one double crochet in each of our double crochets, again working all the way across our row. So one double crochet in each of our double crochets across. And remember to place one in that last one. That's our chain 3 that counts as our first double crochet on row 1. So I stitched one double crochet in each stitch across. Remember, our chain 3 here counts as our first stitch, and make sure you stitch in that first chain 3 because you need to have 33 double crochets. All right, so now we're going to chain 3 and turn our work. We're going to double crochet in the next 2 stitches. Our chain 3 counts as our first, and we're double crocheting in the next 2. 1 and 2. And that gives us 3 double crochets right there. We're going to skip the next stitch, and we're going to stitch a V-stitch in the next stitch. So we skip this stitch, we go to the next stitch and stitch a V-stitch, which is a double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet in the same stitch. And this is our repeat working across. Skip the next, V-stitch in the next. Skip the next, V-stitch in the next. And we'll repeat this working all the way across this row. So we repeated this across until we have 4 stitches left. We're going to skip the next stitch and then double crochet in those last 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. And then we'll go ahead and chain 3. All right, so you'll have 3 double crochets at the beginning. We skip the next stitch and then V-stitch, skip, and you'll do that 13 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 V-stitches. Then you'll skip the next stitch and 1 double crochet in the last 3, and then chain 3. We chained 3. We're going to turn our work, and for row 4, we're basically just going to repeat what we did on row 3. So our double crochet counts as our first, and so we'll double crochet in the next 2. Now we're going to stitch a V-stitch in the chain 1 space of the next V-stitch. double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. And then we'll repeat this working across. We'll stitch a V-stitch in each of the chain 1 spaces of the V-stitches from that previous row. And we'll repeat this across. V-stitch in each of the chain 1 spaces of the V-stitches all the way across, and then we'll stitch 1 double crochet in those last 3 stitches. So I stitched a V-stitch in each of the chain 1 spaces of my V-stitches, and now we're just going to go to these last 3 double crochets and stitch 1 in each of those double crochets. We're not going to chain 3 here because we are going to change colors. Okay, and so for row 4, we have 3 double crochets, we have 13 V-stitches, and we end with 3 double crochets. So now we're going to change to our color 1. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my yarn. There we go. And bring in our next color. Now I'm just using 2 colors, the same 2 that we've been using for all of our Pamper Us projects. And of course, if you want to keep the same color, you can, or you can change colors as often as you want. Now I like to make what I call a little stay knot there, and I just put those 2 together like that. Then I can come back in and weave those in later. That just helps it stay where it's supposed to be. Alright, so we chained 1 after our color change. We're going to double crochet in the next 2 stitches. And now we're just going to repeat what we did on row 4. We're going to stitch a V-stitch in each of the chain 1 spaces of the V-stitches from that previous row. One V-stitch in each of the chain 1 spaces from the V-stitches of the previous row. And we'll stitch this all the way across until we reach those last 3 double crochets. And again, we'll stitch a double crochet in those last 3. I have completed row 5. We have our chain 3 that counts as our first double crochet, and then 1 double crochet in the next 2. Then we stitched a V-stitch in each of the 13 V-stitches across in those chain 1 spaces, and then 1 double crochet in the last 3. Now I did chain 3 because we're not changing colors for row 6. We're basically just repeating row 5. Alright, so I've chained 3. We're going to turn our work. We're going to double crochet in those next 2. And again, we're going to place a V-stitch in each of those 13 V-stitches, working all the way across. And then also again, we're going to stitch 1 double crochet in those last 3 stitches. And so for row 6, we're just repeating what we did on row 5. 3 double crochets, 13 V-stitches, and 3 double crochets. I have completed row 6, which is just a repeat of row 5. We have our chain 3 and our 2 double crochets, our 13 V-stitches, and then 1 double crochet in those last 3. Now I'm not going to chain 3 yet because I'm going to bring back in my blue yarn. Now if you want to carry these up the side, you can. and then you won't cut that, and I'll show you how to do that as well. It depends for me how many rows in between and how much there is to carry up across. All right, so we bring back in our blue, we chain 3, and if you want to carry that up across the side, you can. I'm just going to clip mine for this project. Both ways are totally fine. Again, I'm going to make that just that little stay knot that I do. It's not really a knot. It just helps it stay where it's supposed to be, and then when I come back in and weave that in, it'll lay a lot nicer. All right, and so what we're going to do now is we're going to repeat row 5 and row 6 for one row of blue and a second row of blue. All right, and so we'll just stitch 2 double crochets. We'll stitch our 13 V-stitches. We'll stitch 1 double crochet in the last 3. We'll chain 3, turn, and repeat. So we're basically just doing 2 more rows of what we've been doing. 2 more rows of V-stitches with our 3 double crochets at the beginning and end in our blue yarn. There we go. And again, you can stripe your towel any way that you want to and use any colors that you want. I just wanted to stick with the same colors we've been doing for our Pamper Us set. All right, so we're going to stitch 2 rows of the blue just like we did of our ombre yarn. I completed those next 2 rows, rows 7 and 8, stitched exactly the same way I did 5 and 6, only in my blue color. All right, so now I'm done with my blue for now. And I'm going to bring back in my color 1. Only this time we're only going to chain 1. And the chain 1 does not count as a stitch. All right, we're going to turn our work and we're going to stitch some rows of half double crochets to form the body of our towel. All right, so we're going to go right in this first stitch and stitch a half double crochet. So yarn over, go in the first stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over and go through all 3 of those loops. Stitch a half double crochet in the next 2 double crochets. We're going to stitch a half double crochet in this space between those 3 double crochets and that first V-stitch. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to stitch a half double crochet in each of the double crochets of the V-stitches only, not in the chain 1 spaces. All right, so I'll go in this first double crochet and stitch a half double crochet. Then I'll go in the next double crochet and stitch a half double crochet. And we'll do this all the way across this row. We're only stitching our half double crochets in the double crochets of the V-stitches. Now you may have noticed that your towel sort of fanned out a little bit from those V-stitches, and this row is going to pull that back in so it lays nice and pretty. So we're stitching 1 half double crochet in each of the double crochets only of the V-stitches, working all the way across this row. Half double crochets. There we go. If I can keep it from slipping off my hook. And you'll notice how it just neatly pulls it in and makes it look pretty. So we stitched 1 half double crochet in those first 3 stitches. We stitched 1 in the space between those stitches and the first V-stitch. and then 1/2 double crochet in each of the double crochets only of the V stitches. And this brings us to those last 3 double crochets. We're not stitching one in the space between on this end, only on this end, okay? And so now we're just going to stitch a 1/2 double crochet in these last 3 double crochet stitches. And this is going to give us 33 1/2 double crochet stitches. And chain 1. And see how that pulled that in a little bit, make it look nice and neat. We chained 1. We're going to turn our work. And for row 10, we're just going to stitch 1/2 double crochet in each of the 1/2 double crochets across. We chained 1, and the chain 1 does not count as a stitch. And so we're stitching 1/2 double crochet in each of the half double crochets across. And I like to use a 1/2 double crochet on a towel because it makes a more condensed stitch than a double crochet. All right, so we're stitching 1/2 double crochet in each of our 1/2 double crochets across. I completed row 10, which is just 1/2 double crochet in each 1/2 double crochet across. And so now what you're going to do is you're going to continue to repeat row 10 for 20 more rows. 1/2 double crochet in each 1/2 double crochet across, chain 1 and turn for 20 more rows. So I have repeated row 10 for 20 more rows, and you can see it makes a nice condensed towel up here at the top. Now if you want your towel longer, you can do as many rows as you want to of the 1/2 double crochet rows. It's totally up to you and what you prefer. Okay, so now once we've got it at this point, we're going to begin putting the trim on. So now what we're going to do is we're going to evenly single crochet down the side of our work. We'll place 3 single crochets in the first corner, evenly single crochet across the bottom, 3 single crochets in the next corner, evenly single crochet up the side, same thing, 3 single crochets in the corner, and then we'll single crochet about across the top where we started. And this is going to give us a nice edge to our washcloth. Now the key to getting a nice even side is to try to stitch in the sides of those stitches and not the holes. And you want to be very careful to not put too many stitches, but not have too much space between also. There's not a set number of stitches. You just want it to look nice and neat and lay pretty. So I'm going to single crochet evenly down the side of my washcloth till I reach that first corner. So I evenly single crochet down the side of my towel. Now this is the side where I changed my colors. I did weave over my ends or stitch over my ends, and I'll come back in with my needle and weave those ends in. I like to do that. I think it just makes it a little bit more secure. You've already got them stitched down, and then you can take your needle and finish weaving those in. All right, so here's my first corner. I've got 1 stitch in there, so I'm going to stitch 2 more single crochets in that corner, and then I'm just going to work my way across the bottom, stitching single crochets in each of those stitches. And this is where we began, And so we're basically stitching in those chains where we started. So we did the first side. We stitched 3 single crochets in the corner. Then we evenly single crocheted across the bottom of our towel. And so now we're in the next corner. And we're going to stitch 3 single crochets. There's 1, this is 2, this is 3. And now we're going to evenly single crochet up this side the same way we did on this side. I have completed that third side. Brings me back up to my corner, and so now all I have left to do is to stitch 2 single crochets in this corner and then stitch 1 single crochet in each of those stitches, working all the way across the top of my towel. And this row is super easy because we're just stitching in those half double crochets. I have stitched that single crochet in each of those half double crochets. I'm going to join to that first single crochet where we started, cut my yarn. We'll go in that next loop and pull that loop to the back, although this washcloth looks just as beautiful on the back side as it does on the front. All right, now I'm going to take my needle and weave in all my ends, and then I'm going to show you how to add the bottom row trim that gives this towel just a little bit of fancy fun. So we single crocheted evenly all the way around all 4 sides, putting those 3 single crochets in each of the corners, and the towel looks fine just like that. But I wanted to add just a little extra trim to the bottom portion of our towel. So I'm bringing in this blue that we've been using right in that corner. All right, so what we're going to do is in this first stitch, we're going to go ahead and single crochet. Then we're going to chain 3. We're going to skip the next stitch and single crochet in the next. And chain 3. Skip the next, single crochet in the next. And this is just adding just a little extra fun trim. Give it just a little bit of what I call fancy flair. The towel's perfect without it, but I wanted a little extra trim. You don't have to do this part if you don't want to. I just wanted to. And this is only going to be on the bottom of the towel. It's like adding a little lacy trim, basically. Chain 3, skip the next, single crochet in the next, and repeat across. See, isn't that just cute? It just adds a little extra fanciness. So here's my last one. Single crochet, chain 3, skip 1, single crochet. We'll just cut that off. Whoops. There we go. We'll tie that off and bring that to the back. I hook through there. There we go. We'll just bring that to the back. And we'll weave that in and this end in, and our towel will be all finished. So here is our completed Pamper Us Spa Towel. Again, it measures a little over 12 inches wide and a little over 15 inches long. It's a nice size for wiping the sweat off after you've had a good workout. It's the perfect size even for drying off after a quick shower. I like to use a smaller towel sometimes. That way it fits in a bag in my gym bag and not a great big wet heavy towel. It's also great just wiping the sweat off your face after a good hard workout. And they're lovely enough to be made for your bathroom, you know, to hang up and look beautiful in your bathroom if you want to do that. This particular towel can be used as a washcloth. It can be used as a towel, dishcloth. It can have whatever use that you want because it's basically made out of cotton. So make a bunch and have some fun.